What's up, fam? I'm Grace, and welcome to my Chanel. I've had this account, I think, since junior or senior year of college, maybe longer. And now I'm 3 years out of college, and here we are. Um, it's probably a good thing I didn't start this channel like a long time ago because I was not in a place to be giving advice or nor did I have control over my emotions and like my well-being. I was relying on other people for comfort and vibes. I was relying on medication for sanity. And now I can say that I do not rely on anything but myself and my own brain, all right? And my habits that I have. So I feel like I'm in a much better place to confidently tell y'all what's up. So, uh, I decided to record this like not that long ago, as in like minutes ago. And so we're just running with it. I don't have anything super planned, but I don't know, inspired action, you know what I mean? So I'm feeling inspired and we're doing it. And I just saw 1, 2, 3 on my timer, and that's like my favorite number for just doing things, which is crazy. So, all right, we're doing it. Ah! Okay, so this word popped into my head last night, and I just want to run with it because I think it's so important and so powerful and helpful. And it is the word neutrality. So, neutrality, what is it? I'm sure we all know, but I'm going to say it anyways. It's just being unbiased in any situation when something good happens or not good happens. You just don't have a reaction. All right. And I'm not saying don't get excited when good things happen and don't be upset when bad things happen. Like, those emotions are so valid, but I'm saying don't work yourself up. Like, my phone, when I was driving home today, my phone randomly was like, oh, there's no SIM card in your phone. And I was like, bitch, I was just listening to music like 2 minutes ago. What do you mean there's no SIM card in my phone? And I have to drive to people's houses for work. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I'm not going to be able to use my maps. I'm going to get lost. I'm not going to be able to respond to all these people I'm messaging right now. Like, what am I going to do? Like, our world kind of revolves around a phone. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Um, but then I was like, wait a damn minute. Like, our ancestors back in the day, they didn't have phones. They were just fine. They were probably happier than we are now. They definitely took less medication. So I was like, girl, calm down a minute. Like, it's going to be fine. What's the worst that could happen? And I have a friend who always says, what's the best that could happen? So I love thinking about it like that too. But this isn't about positive thinking. This is about neutrality. So I was just like, okay, it is what it is. This is the situation I'm in. There's nothing I can do right this second to change it. So it's not worth my time and my energy to get worked up about it. It's not something I can change right now. And if you can't change it, if it's out of your control, there is no point in getting worked up about it and wasting your energy and getting yourself in a negative vibe about what, for what. So yeah, so I was just kind of like, all right, nothing I can do about it. And what did I do? I turned my phone off and on and it was fine. It was fine. All of a sudden the SIM card levitated back into my phone, I guess. So yeah, things just aren't that deep. Nothing is that deep. That's a very small example, but it could even get as big as if you get fired from your job. If you really, really love the job and you really, really want it back, sure, you could try to get it back, do whatever you need to do to make amends and to prove your worth and to add more value and put everything you have into it. Or you could just be like, well, that's interesting. Was that job even for me? Like, could there possibly be something out there that's better? But yeah, this is just kind of about not digging yourself into a hole, jumping in the hole, getting cozy in the hole, and fucking dying in that hole. And what I want to say about the job situation really quick is ask yourself how much time you're going to allow yourself to ponder the what ifs of the situation. What if I kept that job? What if I didn't get fired? How long are you going to sit in that state of fear around, oh my goodness, will I get another job? Will I be homeless? Will I be able to eat next week? How long are you going to allow yourself to sit in that fear? And it's valid to feel that fear. It's oh so normal. It would be oh so normal. But how long are you going to allow yourself to sit in that? Versus could you just skip that fear part of it all and just be like, damn, that's what just happened. Okay, what's next? You know, don't even let yourself get there. Don't even let yourself stoop into that. Just, you went down a little, just stay neutral. And then just go back up. You can skip that whole bottom part of the roller coaster if you wanted to. Just saying. When something, quote, bad happens, it's so easy to resort back to the things that make us comfortable and the habits that we have, whether that's food or drugs and alcohol or toxic people, or isolating yourself. For example, that's one that I do. It's very easy to resort to old habits. Mine definitely was is isolating myself and kind of sitting in like the darkness, literally like just kind of sitting in bed or whatever. It's so easy to do that and resort to old habits. I kind of think of it as a cave. It's so easy to go back into the safety of the cave that you know. But if you sit in that cave for too long, it becomes part of your identity and it becomes kind of who you are. And you don't want that. You don't want to become your lackluster habits. You know what I mean? So with neutrality, it kind of softens the blow of anything that might happen. It's kind of like, well, it is what it is. You know that saying that's like, que sera? Like what will be, will be. It just is. All right. Things just are. Things just happen. You don't need to look for a purpose behind it. Things just happen. People just exist. Like we're literally just here. You can't explain how we're here, why we're here. You could have all the ideas in the world, but no one will really know why we're here and how we got here. And we're going to not be here one day. So is it really that important? Riddle me that. Is it really that deep? All right. Now I get it, like tragic things happen and it's valid to grieve. Feeling your emotions is so important. But there does come a time where it's like, are you keeping yourself stuck in this cycle of grief and kind of pitying yourself a little bit? Or are you going to accept the situation for what it is and move on? I think acceptance is another really big word that is valid to this topic. Accepting your situation for what it is and doing what you can with what you got. Letting go of control, surrendering to the circumstances and being like, all right, what am I going to do now? What's up now? So yeah, don't get yourself stuck in your hole, in your cave, whatever your cave looks like. It's okay to get comfort. But just, I think that awareness of what your habits are, what your comfort is, it's good to be aware of those habits so that you can see the line between, am I running to this? Am I running away from something and going here? And am I abusing that? Is it doing more harm than good? Because seeking comfort, I think it's okay to seek comfort every now and then and recharge every now and then. And, like we need alone time. I need alone time, for example. But too much of it is not a good thing for me. So it's all about balance, really. Anyways, this also kind of leads me into positive thinking, all right? Positive thinking, it's a vibe, it's a great thing, but I don't know why I'm giggling. But are you an optimist to the point where you're creating expectations for yourself and for other people and for certain situations that when those times come, they don't live up to your expectations and then you're like crushed? You kind of send yourself on a wave of emotions for what? Like, for what? I think it's great to have goals and aspirations and optimism. I pride myself on being an optimist, but you don't want it to get to a point where you're expecting too much out of yourself or other people, or you think you could get somewhere in time. Like you're like, oh, I have this job. I know I'm going in at this entry level, but I know within a year I will be making double what I make now. And like, and then it's 3 years later and you're still making the same amount of money. Yeah, I love my job. Don't get me wrong. But you just want to be realistic. So neutrality really does help with being realistic about things and just kind of checking yourself whether you're being too positive or too negative. It's just kind of it's a good neutral level. It reminds me of the number 0, okay? It's just like good and neutral. Could go up, could go down. It's a maybe. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a maybe. You're kind of letting yourself be open to all of the possibilities so that if something really good happens, it's a vibe. If something not that great happens, you're like, oh, well, I didn't expect something really great to happen out of that. So like, whatever. It is what it is. And the last thing that I kind of want to talk about with this is how much power neutrality really does give you. If you aren't expecting something to go a certain way, then when it goes poorly, for example, you're giving yourself the power to accept that situation and to be okay with that. And if you're in that mindset of, oh, this is actually fine, like it didn't go the way that I wanted it to, but like, that's okay. Like, what can I do now? You're giving yourself power to make moves differently. You're giving yourself the power to move differently versus you having these high expectations and then you're just crushed. And then you're then you're dwelling on what could have been, what didn't happen, what should have happened. You're shoulding yourself. Mindset mentor. You're shoulding yourself. And that's never a good place to be. So yeah, I don't know. I hope this kind of makes sense. This is just kind of, I wanted to get out there a little bit and talk my shit. Let me talk my shit. But anyways, this was my first episode about neutrality. I'll probably do another one in the future because this was not planned out. But yeah, I wonder if anyone's going to hear this. If you're hearing this, thank you so much. Peace and love, and the Powerpuff Girls.